Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Vegetarian GCSE student, 16, is disqualified for obscene racial comments because she criticized halal meat in a religious studies exam. Yes, it's not that it's Islamophobic anymore, but it's now racial. Yes, because clearly all Muslims are one particular race. Hmm, hmm. Do you not see the hypocrisy here? Bloody hell. Abigail Ward, 16, was told by exam board OCR that she would be disqualified. That was later overturned, thank God. Appeal launched by her school, Gilgridge House in Eastbourne, East Sussex. Examiner had taken her comment on halal butchers to be Islamophobic, but school argued it was in relation to vegetarianism, not opinion on Muslims. Well, it's an opinion on Islam, it would be, not on Muslims anyway. So it doesn't even matter that it's in relation to vegetarianism. This is great, isn't it? It's like, oh no, you can't take that protected class. Hang on. It's like, but I activate my trap card. I'm a protected class because I'm a vegetarian. And therefore, I'm all for the climate and yeah, and farting cows. So, or I'm against farting cows because I'm a vegetarian. So, how about that then? I mean, you can get cows to eat seaweed and then it cuts it by about 98%. But nonetheless, yeah. How ridiculous. So, on the subject of halal butchers, the students had written, which I find absolutely disgusting. Yeah, so do I, and I'm not a vegetarian. I'm all for labelling food that is halal as halal. I think that'd be nice. I would like to know if I'm purchasing halal food because I do not wish to support the industry. We have animal cruelty or anti-animal cruelty measures in place, and I think that they should be observed. Halal goes against that because, as always, the protected groups are protected from the law, and this law is included. Yeah, sure, you can bring kosher into this as well if you want. But instead of saying that they're going to be stunned, shot in the head, no, instead of that, they're hung upside down, cut at the throat while they bleed out. Yes, no wonder the other animals get nervous as they hear their comrades, if you will, screaming out in pain. Yeah, what do you expect? In an appeal, her school explained that her comment was in relation to vegetarian beliefs, not her opinions on Muslims. It would be on Islam, not Muslims, and I don't care if you're vegetarian. A mother later ward said the examiner has been overzealous, over-righteous. Yes, it's nice to call them over-righteous, isn't it? They're just wrong. Speaking to the Sunday Telegraph, the 36-year-old said the family were shocked by the decision to disqualify her daughter, and the exam board has since overturned the decision. Thank goodness for that. She said Abby is an animal lover and a very strict vegetarian. Well, you should be vegan then, because that's the next logical step. But never mind, unless you're going to keep your own animals. But anyway, like chickens, for example, seeing as the eggs should be basically periods, the unfertilized eggs. Keep them, give them a happy life. You may as well eat it. It made me angry when asked a question in the exam. You can't even express your feelings. It's great that it's been overturned, but it should never really even happen. In a statement, OCR said it has apologized to Abby, adding that its initial conclusion was incorrect and too harsh. Yeah, I mean, it's a religious studies exam. Surely that's going to happen, or should we not be taught this at all? Is that the idea? Oh, look at all those women. Um, Schoolgirl. Oh, never mind. Epstein said a Daily Mail investigation found this week that OCR, which oversaw 163,000 A-level entries this year, offered A-level assessor roles to a reporter in two subjects which had no qualifications. This is a slightly different story here that Daily Mail wishes to point out. So I would just end this initial article by saying it doesn't matter that she was vegetarian. You can criticize an ideology without attacking the people who belong to it. You can be anti-Islam without being Islamophobic, unless phobic, instead of being an irrational fear of, is now just disliking the people who make up that group. Right. Is that how it works? I've forgotten the Greek for men now. I don't think it doesn't really matter, does it? Because Islam isn't Greek. So what, you can just be menophobic then if you're a feminist because you dislike men? So now you're menophobic? Is that it? Is that what we're going to get at? So am I feminism phobic? Because I don't like feminism? Is that what it is? Oh no, hang on. What are they saying? Oh, I see. No, it would be... How do you put it? No, because that's not liking the ideology, but it's like not liking the people within that group. Does it have to be an ideology? No, because it can be transphobic, unless you're saying that that is then a political ideology, which I agree with. I don't think you want to admit that. Anyway, let's read on, because, hey, these cognitive acrobatics are getting to me. Move on to the separate but related story. So yes, a Daily Mail investigation found this week that OCR, which oversaw 163,000 A-level entries this year, which is just above GCSE, which would be then what goes into university, offered A-level assessor roles to a reporter in two subjects in which he had no qualifications. The reporter applied online for 2 marking roles in history and Latin using fabricated CVs. At no stage did OCR or its management company, Cambridge Assessment, check any of her claims, seek any references, or verify any of the qualifications. The reporter was then added to OCR's approved assessor list. Yeah, just filling the quota, it doesn't matter if you're good or not. OCR insisted the reporter would have been put through robust training and standardization tests before actually being given any papers to mark, but did not explain why staff had failed to check references before approving the application. Right, so if you got your training and tests, then it doesn't matter what your CV is that what you're saying? Because you've got your own testing. In which case, why do you have the requirement? What's the point? Unless you're saying that there is a point, because you should actually have a knowledge of the languages, or sorry, a knowledge of the subjects, in which case you're still wrong. Ofqual, the exams watchdog that was investigating, we are closely reviewing the evidence provided by the Daily Mail, a spokesman said. We will take appropriate regulatory action if we find our rules have not been met. I'll just use spokesperson instead of spokesman and spokeswoman, otherwise you're going to get caught out, going to be using the wrong pronouns and all that. That's a shitstorm. But yes, that's the story. It was one lady who doesn't like halal, neither do I, but you're not allowed to speak up against it. But thankfully she was able to get off the hook by saying she was vegetarian. How ridiculous. It doesn't matter who the person is. In principle, it doesn't matter. But this is the state that the English education has gotten to, hasn't it? So what do you expect? And as always, and I should have said this earlier, with any of the stories like this, that yes, this one makes news, like Mark Meacham with his park, for example. That makes the news. But think of how many hundreds, if not thousands, in the UK, thousands of people a year who are prosecuted for hate speech, online or otherwise, mainly online. The Twitter patrols, that's where the police are going now. It's safer than being on the street because they don't really want to be there. So you're having to harper, bloody hell. And therefore, yeah, this one is picked up, but think of how many other people that they degraded, quite literally degraded, disqualified, before this was brought up. Think of how many other people are affected. That is the problem with these. It isn't this is a one-off. I would be incredibly surprised if this is just a one-off. Think of how many people then, wrote against halal meat but weren't vegetarian, then yeah, you've got a problem. And if you're making an argument, why can't you say that, oh yeah, your argument is bad, so you've got a bad mark. You haven't reasoned it very well at all. Doesn't make sense. It's not logically coherent. In which case, yeah, cool. You've got an F, you failed. But you haven't been disqualified. How the hell do you do that? Just say unless you're breaking the law. Okay, in that case, yes, a hate crime, great. But if you're threatening the exam and saying, I have your children, give me an A or an A star, or I will slaughter them, then yeah, fair enough. Then you might want to go, yeah, disqualified. But otherwise, if they just filled it with, I don't like Muslims, which isn't even related to this, seeing as it's just a practice of some form of Islam, then even if they were to write that, you say, well, this is irrelevant, if this is an awful argument, because it isn't one, and you fail. But you're not disqualified, you just failed. That would make sense. So why the hell are they so tyrannical about this? And this is in our education system. So what do you expect is going to happen when the people who pass this and don't have the problems are being taught this? Because most people aren't having these problems, which means they're going along with the rules. Yeah. So that's what we've got to look forward to. Homeschool your kids, guys. That's what I'll be doing. Anyway, have a good evening, have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.